Graham Matthews, Bleacher Report, Fan Sided Daily DDT. My man, how you doing?
Doing great, Mr. Randy Cruz. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. We haven't spoken in about 2 weeks, so I miss you, man. Anytime I get a chance to talk to you, every Thursday or Friday, it just brings warmth to my heart. And not having you around last week, I missed you, buddy. How you doing, man? Everything good?
Miss you as well, brother. There's always a empty space in my heart as well whenever I can't talk to you for a week or two. But yeah, I'm doing well. We spoke before we went on the air here how I had you in my thoughts on Monday on St.
Hmm.
Patrick's Day when Vince McMahon popped up at the next game. Obviously, a lot of there's
That's
that
right.
basketball wrestling connection there. But I was waiting for you to hit me with that text like, hey, I met Vince. Got the picture with friggin' St. Patrick himself with that
No,
friggin' green jacket on. Did Vince, but no, maybe another day. Those
that
paths, maybe
that was
maybe you dodged a bullet there.
that was far from my mind. No, Vince is here. Cool, great.
Former
I see
wrestling
you.
promoter Vince McMahon,
That's
yeah,
right. Former promoters, crazy.
doesn't like
Yeah,
that.
that's time is crazy. You can follow Graham Matthews on Twitter, X at Russell Rants. Follow myself, Randy J Cruz, RENDY, letter J, CRUZ. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music. Go to youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Go ahead, download, rate, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some love and support for your boys on the program. Also, I don't know if Graham has noticed, but I do have the new 2 out of 3 falls podcast t-shirt courtesy of ProWrestlingTees.com/cruise control. ProWrestlingTees.com/cruise control for the brand new 2 out of 3 falls podcast t-shirt, which I'm wearing right now. We are doing this live on X and YouTube. So any questions, comments, feedback regarding Raw, SmackDown, what you got, what you think about for WrestleMania down the road. We'll get to it on the air for the next 45 minutes or so. So, Graham Matthews, I know the main billing of the card we have today. We'll talk about Goldberg's final match in 2025. Also, we'll talk about Lex Luger wanting Sting to induct him into the Hall of Fame. Today, actually, March 20th, makes the 31-year anniversary of WrestleMania 10 at Madison Square Garden. But I want to start with the match that you saw. I saw highlights of last night at AEW. That's all I kept seeing on my timeline with Cope, Edge, and John Moxley on Dynamite. It was for the title, right?
It was, yeah.
And everybody was talking about the big spot about with the nails and the spikes, and that was really kind of hard and weird to see. But it is pro wrestling in 2025. What did you make of that spot? And because that was really much the hot topic last night on social media.
The spot itself was fucking gross. I mean, I don't really, for anyone that likes that sort of thing, great. I'm not going to say, I think it's unnecessary. That's just my opinion. Is that a
Mhm.
cold, hard fact? No, because there is an audience for that sort of thing. And if there's an
Yes.
audience for that sort of thing, it would definitely be in AEW because there's a lot of GCW crossover there. That's the sort of thing that you would see on an
Mm.
indie, on a GCW. I mean, they did that whole pizza cutter spot years ago with Jericho and Nick Gage. They
Mm.
got them in trouble with the Domino's, sponsor, whatever it was back in 2021. So they're not, this is far from the first time they've done something along these lines. That might be either, I don't know if it's the most gruesome spot they've ever done. They were doing some pretty gross shit with Swerve and Hangman as well in recent years. So
Mm.
we've seen some pretty bad stuff from the company. Not exactly my cup of tea. I didn't even really like the match. I will say, I think it was, and not even I think it was, far better than their match from Revolution about a week and a half ago. That match was dreadfully boring. The finish was awful. This was a very similar finish, and that Moxley basically in the end, despite all the interference, ended up choking out Cope, Mox, Edge, or Copeland, Edge, whatever you want to call him.
That's right, Adam.
Adam ended up choking Adam out, and that was it. And Moxley retained the championship. I was not expecting anything different. They already announced Swerve Strickland is challenging for the championship at Dynasty. He earned that shot by beating Ricochet back at Revolution last weekend.
Mhm.
So the outcome was never really in doubt for me. But Cope being in the title picture, I never really even had an issue with. But these two just don't have great chemistry really in the ring. That's been proven in these last two matches, in my opinion. The
Yeah.
Moxley terrible title reign continues. But the spot itself will get a lot of people talking for better or for worse. It was not my cup of tea personally.
Yeah, so I did not see the match. I was watching the Knicks last night. And I'm scrolling through, and all I kept seeing was the spot with the nails, and I was like, oh, okay. The first thing I saw was like I think a Cope used it on Mox's stomach. I was like, oh, okay, that's not bad. And then the suplex came. I was like, oh, and like these ain't barbed wire. Like this is like nails, like fucking Home Depot shit.
Yeah.
Like it's not just
Massive.
one.
Yeah.
It's like 40 of them shits, and
Hmm.
it's in Moxie's back. I'm like, oh shit, and they're trying to take it out, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah. It
And
was gross.
the fact that he won the match, so it's like, oh,
Mhm.
this guy's unbeatable. He can take 40 nails to his back, and still come out victorious. And then again, I'm not following what's going on with AEW, to be honest. So I don't know what the story was, or like what's next for Cope or what's next for Moxley. So like why I heard that the match they had at Revolution was so they ran it back for Dynamite. And now it's like, okay, what's next for Mox? You telling me Swerve? What's next for Cope? I have no idea. So I'm kind of lost in the shuffle with that. But I think with anything I see on social that pops up, I was like, oh shit, I got to bring it up to Graham
Yeah.
regarding AEW. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like I said, I mean, the fact that you saw it, the fact that you watched it, I guess that kind of achieved what they were going for, that it got a lot of attention. So, I mean, it certainly
Mhm.
succeeded in that respect. I just don't really think that stuff is necessary. You can do hardcore shit. And I think there's to AEW's credit, to the company's credit, there's a lot of no DQ, street fight, no hold barred matches every single week on We just saw one in fucking Raw this week with Penta and Ludwig Kaiser, where there was really nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. But
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen 6 street fights dating back to Revolution and on
Mhm.
AEW TV, WWE TV, even in TNA in recent weeks. So at least they do make the most of the stipulation. I
Mhm.
just don't think doing dumb shit like this, which is really up Moxley's alley, so it's not really all that surprising. I just it's just not necessary. Like, it's almost too gruesome, and again, it might be a case of just me being too soft or sensitive, whatever. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that they shouldn't do it. I actually I am kind of saying that. I don't really think they should be doing dumb shit like that where it's stupid. It's just a shock value, really. It's just shock value shit for the sake of doing stupid shit. And I think it's
Yeah.
Darby Allin does a lot of dumb shit too. If I saw someone do something dumb at WWE, I would say the same thing.
I was gonna tell you, like, if you talk about gruesome, Noob chimed in last night. It was very graphic. Thank you, Noob. I would appreciate you for chiming in. Yeah, I did not see the whole match. I saw the spot. I remember Darby with the glass. That was like, I don't know if that was the top thing for me, but I'm like,
That
yeah,
was stupid too, yeah.
yeah. So when you're telling me, like, again, I don't know what the stipulation was. I don't know what the rivalry has been. Like, if this was the culmination of like this needed some kind of hardcore finality to a rivalry, okay, but it's like you're telling me it did not need that spot, and this is John's alley with being hardcore and adding different shit to a match. So I'm like, all right, on a random Wednesday on a Dynamite, like you're doing fucking 45 nails to your back. I was like, okay, at least save that for the pay per view or something like that, or like this the end between me and Cope, and we both go our separate ways. But I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they have been feuding for 3 months. It wasn't just I mean, it was a random match because they already had Moxley beat Cope, technically a Revolution, even though he wasn't pinned. The whole cash in with Christian kinda sucked, so, I'm just kinda curious to see what comes after this with Cope and Christian probably reuniting at some point soon, maybe for a match against FTR at All In. I could certainly see them heading in that direction.
Mhm.
The feud itself didn't really do much for me. This whole Moxley title reign does absolutely nothing for me. It's been very boring since the get go. The whole group is terrible. They needed like 20 people to interfere to kind of protect Cope and defeat, which wasn't really necessary. The whole
Yeah,
thing wasn't really, and I'm glad. The whole thing wasn't good, but I will say I'm glad they did not close the show with it, and they closed Dynamite with the women instead. You would think, oh, big street fight for the world title. How does this not close
yeah.
the show?
The
Because
Tony
the
Storm,
finish
I saw that part. Yeah.
yeah, the whole brawl with the newcomer, Megan Bayne, I thought that was well done.
Hmm.
They probably had enough wherewithal this time to know, hey, we closed their show with a Moxley title retention at Revolution, and it really sucked the life out of the building. Which, I mean, I guess you can make a case for it closing the show so it doesn't ruin any matches that come after it, but it sucked. That was not the right main event for that show, especially when you had a lot better matches on that Revolution card that could have closed the show instead. At least they thought better of that on Wednesday, and they closed the show with a better match and a better moment instead.
Um, Do you have a Street Profits shirt on? Am I seeing that
it's a
right? I'm
Street
like, I'm
Profits
trying
hat.
to spell out. Okay, well, what new tag team champions, by the way.
Yeah, new tag team champions as of last
So
Friday SmackDown.
we're gonna work our way backwards. So, Profits, new tag champions. Thoughts, real quick, before we move on.
Yeah, thought it was cool. I mean, these guys have gotten so many title shots, and I tweeted this after the fact. I had it saved in the drafts, and I forgot to tweet it before the title match on Friday. I've had this in the drafts for like a month and a half, but I did the math at one point, and before Friday's SmackDown of last week, these guys, dating back to 2021, when they were last tag team champions on SmackDown, as I think at that point the SmackDown tag team champions, they have gotten 14 title shots and have lost every single one. That includes the Raw tag titles, SmackDown tag titles, Undisputed tag titles, World tag titles, WWE tag titles, NXT tag team titles they've challenged for, and have lost every single time or were unsuccessful. It was a no contest, whatever. So this was their 15th time challenging for tag titles, and they finally won. I was surprised because I thought they would save that moment for Mania, but you don't have to do everything at Mania. And I tweeted this out. I think it's good. They've done more title changes on TV lately. You can't do title changes every single week.
Yeah.
But one of my biggest complaints in the last couple of months of the Triple H booking era, whatever, is that he seems to save the bigger moments for the Manias, the Summer Slams, maybe Survivor Series or a Rumble. It's not really, they don't even happen on the B-level pay-per-views. The B-level pay-per-views are fun, but they don't really feel overly newsworthy. Aside from Elimination Chamber, they did a better job with Chamber, and that felt like a big show.
Yeah.
But the weekly TVs are very enjoyable for the most part, but they don't feel overly eventful as far as like, oh, if someone's defending a championship here, they're probably retaining. They had Io Sky win the Women's World Championship recently, some title changes recently on NXT. Now the Profits on SmackDown. They've done a LA Knight the week before, new United States champion. They've done a better job.
And then Liv and Raquel, tag champions.
Yeah, main event of Raw right before that. So they've done a better job of that lately, and I thought the Profits moment was good. I still think we end up with a multi-team match at Mania for the WWE tag team titles. Maybe they retain or the Motor City Machine Guns get them back, whatever the case might be. I thought it was a great moment, a very good match with DIY on SmackDown, and it was the rightful main event for that show that the Spain crowd, the Barcelona crowd, was very hot for on Friday night.
Yeah. Also, a hot topic since Monday. John Cena, heel John Cena, came out on Raw, confronted Cody, or vice versa, and ever since then, it's been about, did the promo overwhelm you, underwhelm you? Did it deliver? Now, since you had a couple of days to digest it, what did you make of Cena's first promo as a heel on Raw?
Might be a bit of a hot take. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. I did not think it was amazing or excellent for a few different reasons. One, he came off as too whiny, which I know was the point because he's a heel. I get that.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of expected him to be more serious, and maybe we'll get to that point. I've seen a lot of people say maybe that's the end game. We just don't know.
Yeah.
I am still convinced this was a last minute decision. I've kind of gone back and forth. Was this the plan the whole time? How do you throw a John Cena heel turn out there without really thinking about this in advance? I do believe the report that Cody was the guy they wanted, and not they. Rock wanted to go heel, and he said no. WWE said no, so they went with Cena instead. I still honestly believe this was very much a last minute decision. I think Cody and Cena was always the plan. I think to turn Cena heel was not a long game thing. I think this was a very short-sighted decision. But I think it is for the better because it makes the match with Cody at Mania more interesting. I've said that. But for his first heel promo, I think there were a lot of logic gaps of stuff that just didn't make sense. Like he's shitting on the fans. For that reason alone, I like the promo because we haven't seen that ever from John Cena, or at least not in 20-plus years. It's been a very long time. So for that alone, I appreciated it. But there's just certain aspects of what he said that I just didn't really think were logical. Like he's talking about, oh, I'm not going to change my music or the theme because that's what you would want from me, and I'm not doing this for you. Appreciated that explanation. The problem is the shirts, it's all babyface shit. It's all like farewell tour.
Yeah, like this and like
rise above hate, but I'm embracing the hate. It makes no fucking sense. And maybe the point that it makes, maybe the fact that it makes no sense is the point, but I think that's just making excuses for WWE. I think they always had these farewell tour shirts planned, and now they just want to sell them. So, and him out there talking like the kid, which again, it was funny, but he's like, fuck you. And he didn't say fuck you, but he was like, I'm breaking up with you, toxic relationship, blah, 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 but still buy my shirts. Now, he didn't say go buy my shirts. He should just be out there and be honest as a character and be like, I'm just selling these t-shirts still because I want your money. I've always wanted your money. I'm a
Yeah.
big star, gone to Hollywood. But he didn't say that. He's like, I don't want your support. You've never supported me, which is fucking stupid because everyone buys this shit. So it just doesn't really make sense. And also the bigger question is, last thing on this, why now? He didn't explain that either. And maybe it's because he
True.
was desperate for 17, but he didn't make that comment. He didn't even mention the fucking Rock. Now we have a
Yeah.
month to go until Mania. Maybe he'll
Mhm.
get back to that at some point. But why not turn heel 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago? Why now? Like, especially when everyone loves you. He didn't even say, oh, yeah, you all hated me until I said I was leaving and now you love me. He didn't even say that. So they
Mhm.
still have to make it make sense. But I thought for 1 week, though, I thought it was very good. And hopefully he can kind of find his footing with this character in the coming weeks.
I I when me and Kenny did the show on Tuesday night, 'cause we first of all, Raw was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're
Yeah.
both at work, and we weren't gonna do the show right after. So I said, what do we think? From if I was being nitpicky or devil's advocate, no mention of The Rock, no mention of why. Um, you're aligning yourself with him. Did you sell your soul to The Rock? You won the match at Chamber. The crowd was cheering you at Chamber, and all of a sudden, boom! Why did you feel like you said? Why the time is now to make this move? Um, and the substance of your promo, which was good. John's always great on the microphone,
Yeah.
but I feel like I'm looking for that sarcastic John Cena that was going up against The Rock in 2012 on the
Mm-hmm.
microphone. Like, if I had him on Monday, I think a different story. And it's typical one-on-one. Oh, the fans, you turned on me. You didn't believe in me, but now I'll turn
Yeah.
on you.
Very
It's
basic. Yeah.
very basic. I'm like, could we get to more meat on the bone as time goes forward? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, and we're talking about realistic things. The last time we saw Cody was at Chamber. Well, not last time we saw Cody, but he was in the ring in Chamber getting beat down by Cena and Travis Scott. He got kicked in the balls. He got punched in the face by Travis Scott, got a fucked up eardrum. And the
Yeah.
first time you see John Cena, you just walk out there, regular promo, whoa, and then you call Cena a whiny bitch. And I don't want to wrestle this guy right here. I want to wrestle the guy in the shirt.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then I leave. But it's like I told Kenny, Grant, if I kicked you down there, and then you don't see me for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and the first time you see me, it's all we all good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, it had to be something like, yo, once I see John Cena in the ring, I'm going after him. We're getting our hands dirty, and then you start that rivalry. Just a regular basic. Again, if I'm really nitpicking this,
No, I agree. That made no
you know what I'm
sense.
saying? It's like it just didn't make sense logically of like now that makes Cody look soft. And I'm saying
Yeah.
like if that was anybody else from back in the day, it's on site.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that was Cena that got kicked down there, Cena the following week would have ran after Randy Orton or Edge or somebody like that. So again, they might be having this thing where don't touch hands until Mania kind of phase. But I'm like, all right, Mania's a month from now. You
Yeah.
mean
No,
tell
they
me
got to get physical at some
they
point.
got it. But why not start right from the jump? Is my question.
Or at the very least, because I was thinking that too. I've seen other people say that, and I totally agree with that. Because not
Mhm.
only was he kicked down below, he was also battered with the belt.
Yeah.
A lot of other shit. I mean, Cena like destroyed him, made him bleed. I believe at the end of he made him bleed at the end of Elimination Chamber. And he's been aggressive in promos in the times that we've seen in Cody since Chamber. But this was the first time that he has seen Cena face to face since what happened at Elimination Chamber. At the very least, you could have explained if you don't want him to get physical on week 1 and you still wanted Cody to talk. Now, he didn't say a lot, which I think is good because I think obviously they're advertised for Raw together this coming week.
Yeah.
They still have plenty of time to kind of flesh out the feud and kind of further build towards their bout and whatever. But one thing you could have done, I know this is heel 101, and it's not even, you can't even really say like, oh, it would have made Cena look weak. He already made himself look weak with what he fucking said on Monday. He sounded like a complete bitch. Oh, you didn't, like he literally said, you didn't think about my feelings. Like, you sound like a bitch, but I guess that's the point. But if you're going to go bitch Cena route, which we'll go back to in a moment because I have other thoughts on that, go all in with it by having him hire the basic heel 101 security guard team. That way Cody can't get in the ring. You know what I mean? Cena has all this money. He's a big Hollywood star. You can play into that shit if you want. And then Cody can't get in. He has like people blocking ringside or whatever. And that way they can go back and forth, and Cody can't get his hands on Cena because of that. Or they have Adam Pearce or whoever say, listen, you guys can't get physical. It will put our main event in jeopardy. And they've done this storyline before in WWE. AEW did it recently as well with Hangman and MJF. You guys can't get physical. Or at least outright say it. Like if you get physical, you're fined, you're suspended, match is off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They could just do that. So I am still worried that, going back to the bitch Cena thing for a second, I am worried that based off what you said, when Cody said to Cena, this is not the Cena I want at WrestleMania, that makes me fucking worried that Cena will be a babyface again by WrestleMania, which would be the absolute worst thing they could possibly do. If they turn Cena back babyface, SummerSlam at the earliest. Doing heel Cena for a month almost is not even worth it. That is, what a waste of time. For him to come out, what the fucking night after Mania. So he loses to Cody at WrestleMania, okay? Ideally, this is where we're possibly headed. This is a very real possibility. He loses to Cody, raises his hand, acknowledges him, puts him over, whatever. He comes out on Raw the next Monday and said, yeah, you know what I said? I was kind of a little out of line a month ago. I'm sorry. A month later? That's fucking ridiculous, dude. If you're going to go all in with this, go all in with this. None of this bullshit where he's back to being a babyface by Mania in a month from today.
I do have the schedule for Cena. So Raw on the 24th, Raw on the 31st, both overseas shows. Then he's not scheduled until WrestleMania. So from March 31st until April 20th.
He's got to show up again.
So
he has to.
I would like to assume so. At least a SmackDown or something. Raw on April 21st. April 25th, SmackDown. May 9th, SmackDown. May 10th, Backlash. May 25th, Saturday night's main event. SmackDown on May 30th, June 13th, and June 20th.
It's a lot of SmackDowns, but he's got, I mean, a lot of appearances, which is great. But he's got it. You're not going to show up with 3 weeks to go until Mania. What the fuck is Cody going to do for 3? Unless The Rock is showing up in his place, that makes, and even then, that doesn't even make sense. Come on, man.
I think John's got to pull up on something between
one show. At least
the go home show.
Seriously, dude. Like even in the middle, if he shows up 3 weeks in a row, you're saying the 24th and the 31st. That would leave April 7th and April 14th as the 2 Raws before, like at least a go home show or a SmackDown, because Cody's on all of these shows.
Of course.
So he's missing 3 SmackDowns and 2 Raws before Mania, all consecutive. Come on, man. And this is a guy that wasn't even here for the Road to Elimination Chamber or the Royal Rumble for the most part. Again, I don't want to, and I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying I can see people making the excuse, he's a heel. Can't give you what he, like, stop. Like, that's just, I don't know if it's Cena's fault, the company's fault. That's fucking lazy. How do you build a match with one half of the main event there? And this is not a Cody, this is not a Kevin Owens Stone Cold situation from a couple of years ago. Yeah. That was different. This is a championship main event that you were building your show off of. And yeah, the guy's here for 3 weeks straight, but it's, space it out a little bit. Cena really should have been on the Raw after Elimination Chamber. The promo that we got this week, that Brussels crowd was great. Props to them. But that promo should have happened 2 weeks ago on Raw. I mean, this is just ridiculous. They got to space it. They got to space this shit out better. What the fuck is Cena doing?
And plus the fact that these appearances just might be promos. Like he's not.
Oh yeah, he ain't wrestling. No, I mean
he ain't getting physical. But like my thing is this: what else can you do with John as opposed to going out there and cut a promo like the vignettes, driving to the arena? Like I get his point about no new music, no new outfit. I'm gonna be the same old me. But if you'd have had like how John was in the Fast and Furious, black shirt, the comb black hair, he's driving to the arena, he gets out, he's looking for Cody, Cody's waiting for him, like giving all that stuff, like the more of the realism. You can't just have John be a heel and then cut a promo for 4 straight weeks and then you're good for WrestleMania. We didn't do that with Austin, we didn't do that with The Rock, we didn't do that with Triple H. They were actively involved in threading in the story of a Raw or SmackDown. If that's your idea of trotting out Cena for 3 weeks and just doing a promo, I'm like, nah, that's not for all of that, Graham. you should did the heel turn at WrestleMania.
Honestly, yeah. No, I agree. Honestly, at that point, you might as well have done it. And that's assuming that he even wins. At this point, I'm not
I mean,
completely
he's
convinced
got
of
to
that.
win though. He
He
can't have
has
him
to fucking win.
turn.
But I mean, what Cody said on Monday made me worried about, I don't want this John Cena. Like, you know what's honestly kind of sad? You mentioned Cena's schedule. I think The Rock showed up to WrestleMania last year on the road to WrestleMania more than John Cena did. I think The Rock made more appearances on Raw and SmackDown. If you count all those appearances he made at the press conference, on the SmackDown after Rumble, when the pivot happened, after that, when he attacked Cody right before WrestleMania, he showed up a fuck ton before WrestleMania.
And he got involved. That's the difference.
And he got physically involved. And he made
We don't
surprise
know what
appearances.
John's gonna do yet, but Rock did promos. He got involved. He was doing the cameos. He beat up Cody backstage outside in the rain. Like he was doing all of that. Like, okay, now you're really getting active.
Yeah,
we got to see Cena get active. Don't just
he's
talk.
Gotta get, I mean,
nah, you bro.
I'm looking forward to these promos with him and Cody because I think there's more meat on the bone there they can get into this coming Monday. But what about the next Monday after that? And also, to your point, is that the last time that we'll see him before Mania? Come on, dude. I mean, Cody cannot continue to talk on fucking Miz TV for the next 3 weeks. That's just that's lazy. That is lazy. What the fuck is Cena doing? Is he filming movies or not? Again, like, I thought they said they took the year off. You didn't, clearly, because, I mean, the Rumble thing was one thing. I didn't really care about that. He's gone for the road to Chamber. Okay, that's kind of why. And then he's gone for most of the road to WrestleMania. He was gone for 2 weeks after Chamber. He's here for 3 weeks and then gone for 2 weeks after that. Bro, at least, again, either space it out better or figure the fuck out what you're supposed to be doing here. The vignettes is like, I don't even know if they're going to do vignettes. I mean, I can't completely judge it until we see, but I am very skeptical.
They should do vignettes, man.
At
like,
least.
You got to bring that Hollywood Cena into the equation.
Like he's wearing the goofy ass hat and the fucking jorts. I think that's. I'm sorry, I don't.
That's
like
crazy.
That.
Nah. I mean, yeah, and but I think was very, before I move on, was very important. He will be there at the Monday after Mania, the Raw after Mania. He will be there. So is he walking in as champion? Is he walking in there as defeated? Like
we don't know. But
that's
you know
tough,
what,
bro?
Yeah, no, I agree. But what we did not discuss, because this came after we spoke last, but obviously they announced Backlash for St. Louis on May 10th. Brother, I mean, they got to do him and Randy on that show, and Cena's got to be a heel. This is another reason why Cena has to stay heel for at least a little while. To do him and Orton on that show, first of all, they don't do that match on that show, then they're fucking dumb. I know people have said they could save it for Cena's last match, which I can almost understand, but like they're in Orton's hometown. And you don't have Orton challenge Cody for the belt. Even if they turn Orton heel after Mania, that almost doesn't even make sense because they would boo Cody. That's kind of just like stupid. It's sabotaging Cody. So I don't know.
Which I was going to bring up. I'm thinking plan A, you have John and Orton, I think, for the title at Backlash in St. Louis. Yeah. Plan B, you could turn Orton heel and make somehow he makes Cody lose at WrestleMania, and now Orton is down with Cena and The Rock, and that's the crew now. And Backlash, that's your main event, or somewhat main event. Orton and Cody Rhodes, because now there's a story behind that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever you have Orton and Cody go down, whenever it happens, Cody's a good guy, Orton's the bad guy. It can't be Orton good guy and Cody good guy. It can't go down like that.
No,
I would love to see a heel Cena good guy Orton.
That's what I think you got to do.
I could see that too, but I mean, it's a very interesting thing to have Orton side with Cena and be the heel.
No, we've talked about that. I mean, I said that previously. That would have been interesting. At this point, I'm not even convinced there's a faction because Rock isn't showing. Is Rock like, what was even the point? Like, I don't know, bro. This Rock thing is funny because like he shows up and he's like, oh, I need a corporate champion. He turns or Cena turns alongside him. There's no mention of The Rock since Chamber, and Cena doesn't mention The Rock, and he has nothing to do with any of this. At that point, Cena should have just honestly, for as great as that Cena turn was, let me ask you this: when Cena was standing in the ring, when he attacked Cody, I thought there was a chance. I'm not saying I knew it was coming. No one knew it was coming for sure because we haven't seen heel Cena in 20 years. But I'm still thinking it could be Cena. I still don't really agree with it because I don't really think it makes sense, and it still doesn't make sense to me. But it is interesting. I've said that I am invested in it. But like when Cena was standing there, I'm thinking, I feel like he's going to attack Cody. It's going to be surreal when it happens, but I still feel like there's a chance. If they have Cena win Chamber, which I always expected him to win Chamber anyway, if he lost at the Rumble, I kind of figured he would win a Chamber, and then he did. Because the plan, or reportedly, was always Cody and Cena at Mania. They could have closed the show with Cody and Cena arms up, whatever. And if Cena attacked Cody at that point, that would have been infinitely more. I mean, what we got was shocking. What we got there, if Rock wasn't there to foreshadow the turn, that would have been even more shocking. Because like when Rock said I needed a corporate champion and Cody said no, it kind of made it look like, okay, there's a chance it could be Cena because Cena's still in the fucking, like, why is Cena there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But imagine if The Rock wasn't there and Cena just destroys Cody and like makes it clear he's a heel. That to me would have been I would have been like even more stunned that they did that. The Rock thing is just completely unnecessary. The guy doesn't want to wrestle, but he still wants to be involved, but he's not going to show up this year on the road to WrestleMania. Just get The Rock the fuck out of the equation. Like at this point, he doesn't even matter. Just keep it to Cena and Cody. It's just, you can't have it both ways.
It's a very weird dynamic. I agree. And thing is, like you said, we're worried about Cena's schedule. What about The Rock? Is he gonna appear? And like the whole sell your soul before I move on, like that shit lasted. It lasted 1 week.
They never talked about that again.
It's not like I was. It's not like I was trying to get Cody for a month or two.
Yeah.
Yo, man, or like I helped you win that match. Yo, look, I got you this. I got you that. Now it's a build up. Hey, come on, man. I've been doing it for 2 months now. So come with me. Nah, go fuck yourself. Then it's like that shit happened for a week. I want your soul. No. All right, damn. Cena, come in. Like, so it makes it seem to the audience that this was a last minute pivot. This wasn't in the cards from day one. No. So it's very weird. I still want to have the benefit of the doubt that we'll see what happens on Monday. We see things turn verbally, outfit wise, or whatever. The Rock, I don't know. But they're gonna have the crowd behind them. That those are the overseas crowd that they're gonna cheer for everything. So, and they were booing the shit out of Cena. They were saying "fuck you, Cena." They were really giving it to him, and that's the reaction you want. But it's like it's the substance of like, why did you turn heel, bro? We still never really got the answer. You might hate the fans, but why did you align with The Rock? What did The Rock tell you or promise you to align? I sold my soul to The Rock because, and we never heard about title 17. That's the whole goal of this whole shit. I want to be champion. I want to be champ for the 17th time more than anybody else in company history or wrestling period. Even that wasn't even mentioned.
No, it wasn't. I mean, you would think again the whole reason, but part of it we thought, okay, maybe he turned and aligned with The Rock as he saw. First of all, it doesn't even really make sense because he won the Chamber right before that.
Exactly. You know if he had lost, it's different.
It makes more sense if he lost. Adam, this whole thing feels completely out of nowhere. I'm still invested. I'm not. Nothing. Just to be clear, nothing is all amazing and nothing is all garbage. I mean, some things are. But I am still interested, and there are parts of this that I like, and I will still take I can't stress this enough. I would still take this messy, confusing, winding road to WrestleMania with Cena and Rhodes over the alternative of Cena staying babyface. That would have just been even worse. That would have just been boring. I think it would have made sense, but it would have been boring.
If he had remained a good guy, I think you start seeing the gray area in the promos from John. That's where it's like, all right, so I know Cody 1000% babyface. John, the way he talked to Roman Reigns and Austin Theory and The Rock, then you start seeing, so John's sparring with Cody. Cody can't hang with John on the mic. And I think that's the one thing they keep in mind. Like, all right, if I want to let them two guys go, John's gonna kill Cody on the microphone.
Yeah.
So we got to reel him back in. So I don't know. If we had that, then you do the heel turn at Mania, which would have made more, even without The Rock. So anyway, I could talk about John Cena for a half hour now. I'm watching Ariel Helwani show last night. Your favorite Bill Goldberg was on, and long story short, he said Hunter has promised him a retirement match in the year 2025. Against who? We don't know. What PLE? We don't know. We could have options of Gunther, Braun Breaker, Roman Reigns, John Cena. We can go down the line. So I think this will happen. I know you. I know you may not be a fan of it. Um, I'm down with it. If there's a story and it makes sense, I'm cool with him having his final match, because what he was saying was that the last time I fought was in Saudi Arabia, and it wasn't like it wasn't the way he wanted to go out. Which
It was like a 3-minute match with Roman Reigns. Yeah.
I thought it was Taker, but that was probably before that, right?
Yeah. No, that was like 2019. That match was terrible.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wants to redeem himself. To one, are you in the camp of, all right, I can let Goldberg rock out one more time in 2025 if it makes sense and the story is right? And two, who you think will benefit from going in the ring with Goldberg and getting that rub from this Hall of Famer?
Honestly, I really do not mind one more match for Goldberg. I'm not sitting here clamoring for it really at all. If he never wrestled again, I wouldn't be crying over it. We got so many one more matches from Goldberg from 2016 through 2022.
Just one more. Just one more. I promise, one more.
Oh yeah, just one more, and then it turns
one
into
more
run again, right? Like it's like the Taker syndrome.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine. And also, here's another thing too. When we first talked about this in October, when he showed up at Bad Blood in Georgia, in Atlanta,
yeah,
and we're like, brother, like because he teased something with Gunther. Now, as a match, that's fine. What I did not want to see was him facing Gunther at WrestleMania. That would have been awful. Whether it be for the World Heavyweight title or even if it wasn't for the World Heavyweight Championship, that would have been a downgrade for Gunther. Now, could and should they still do that match? To pay off the angle of Bad Blood, I'd be fine. Honestly, that probably makes the most sense. The fact that it's not happening, it could even happen at fucking SummerSlam. Because, we know Gunther's losing at Mania to Jey Uso, which is the right outcome. That build has kind of been lacking a lot, but that's a whole other discussion. But we know Gunther's losing. He should lose. Jey Uso, if only briefly, for a couple months, whatever you want to say, should win the World Heavyweight title. Do you do him and Gunther at Backlash? In St. Louis, probably not. Do they do it in Paris or something? Do they do it at SummerSlam? I could see SummerSlam. That would make sense. If not before then. As long as Goldberg, because is another thing he has talked about for a lot of the matches he had during that last run from 2016 through 2022, Vince called upon him to wrestle literally within weeks. Like that Roman Reigns match, I think he had COVID right before that.
He said that. Yeah.
Yeah, he had COVID right before that. So it wasn't like an ideal situation for him. Or the Fiend match, which was fucking terrible. And he should have never won that match. But when he won the belt from the Fiend, also in Saudi Arabia, he's had a lot of Saudi Arabia matches. That wasn't a great match either because he blamed Vince calling him up at the last minute because that was also a last minute pivot. That was never the plan. So if he has another ample amount of time to get in shape, which sounds like he does, like he's known this for months now, hopefully the match will be good. To answer your question as far as who would benefit, Gunther doesn't really benefit. He can't lose to Gunther should not lose to Goldberg. That would be awful. I don't know if Goldberg's ideal Cinderella story is going out as a winner. If he wants to go out as a winner, then go beat fucking Otis or something. You can't be beating people that are actually of note, depending on who it is. Gunther should not be.
He's got to take the L. He knows that.
I think he should take the L. Yeah. I don't know if he agrees with that, but I think he's got to take the L if it makes sense. Gunther doesn't really benefit. The match would be fine. I think Gunther could get a very good match out of him. I think the match that appeals to me more, honestly, just their personal history, is Braun Breaker. They don't have history in WWE, but like Goldberg's helped train Breaker to a certain extent. He kind of like recommended him to WWE or whatever it was. They both played football, whatever. There's a lot of history there dating back to Breaker's family's history with Goldberg from WCW with the Steiners. I'd much rather see that. And I also think Breaker being at the mid-card level right now would benefit actually from working with someone like Goldberg and beating Goldberg and having that to his name that he retired Goldberg. He beat him in his last match. Now, did Baron Corbin really benefit from beating Kurt Angle in his last match? No, maybe for a couple of months, if that. That was WWE's fault. But I think Breaker could forever claim, if they wanted to, with him as a heel, he's kind of a tweener now, that he retired Goldberg. I think it would mean a lot to Goldberg. I think the match could be explosive and fun. Think like Brock and Goldberg from Mania 33 in 2017. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was a really fun match. I think they could do something along those lines. So my ideal pick is Breaker. Gunther also makes sense. Any other match doesn't really appeal to me, honestly, as much.
And to you, does it matter what PLE is it? Does Goldberg in his mind, obviously he can't do WrestleMania. So you're gonna have SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Money in the Bank. Does it matter where the match is for Goldberg, or it has to go based on what the story is portraying?
No, I don't really think I don't really think it matters where it is or when it is, as long as it's not a WrestleMania, which it doesn't sound like it will be, unless it's like a open challenge type thing and he answers and he beats someone. That would kind of be lame. I think he would want to hype up
Yeah.
that this is his last match. Honestly, ideally, the only issue with this is that they were just there for Bad Blood, but I ideally would do it in Atlanta because that's where he's from, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I think he lives in Canada now. I have no fucking clue, but I would do it somewhere where he's going to get a good reaction. I would not want him to go in there against like a breaker or something and get booed if he's supposed to be the baby face. Maybe if he's a heel, like he can come. He hasn't been a heel in WWE ever. I don't think during this latest run he was a heel. In
He'll
03 to
know.
04, he wasn't a heel. He was a heel very briefly in WCW, but that was 25 years ago. So if they are okay, because I feel like there's a chance people will cheer Goldberg. He still gets great cheers when he shows up. But there's a chance if they like Breaker more, they might fucking shit on Goldberg, especially if the match isn't great. So you might
True.
want to go somewhere safe where you know he's going to get cheered, like in Atlanta. The only issue with that is that they were just there in October. They're probably not going back there anytime soon for a PLE. So I think it'd work better if it was a lower level PLE to give one of like a Backlash or like a Money in the Bank, which is kind of a big five now anyway. But one of the lesser pay-per-views, you could put him in the main event if the match makes sense. Build around him for his final match, and make it a special attraction. Whereas at a SummerSlam, it would probably be slated like in the middle of the card or whatever. Like I feel like if you do it on a B show, it could be a bigger deal.
Or I'm looking to see if anything pops up for Atlanta. You do have Clash in Paris coming up in August.
I feel like they would shit on Goldberg, to be honest with you.
What, overseas? But the one thing he did say, he would like to have it in America, in the States.
Of course he did.
I'm just letting you know. Hold up.
I mean, I think reportedly a lot of the PLEs this year are going to be in the States. Survivor Series, I don't think they'll wait that long. But Fightful had said that was slated for, I think, San Diego in November. So
I saw San Diego November for Survivor. Obviously I'm scrolling way past. I see WrestleMania obviously next year in New Orleans, and I see SummerSlam is in Minneapolis.
This year or next year?
Next year. I'm looking right at it. August 1st, August 2nd, 2026, SummerSlam, Minneapolis.
Well, that's next year though.
Yeah, but did you know that?
No, I knew that. They announced that a while ago. I forgot whether it was this year or next year. This year they're in New Jersey. But they said, I think you can't wait that long. One, he's going to get older, and second of all, he said it would be this year. You should probably just get it over with this year. The longer you wait, the worse the match is going to be. He's going to be like fucking 60 at that point.
Aha! SmackDown, May 23rd, Savannah, Georgia.
Have it on SmackDown, May 23rd.
SmackDown, imagine. No, I can't do that. I can't.
I can't do that.
I think SummerSlam might be it.
You know what? That being said, though, Edge had his last match in WWE on a SmackDown last year.
But in Toronto, right?
He did, but Edge doesn't really seem like the type of person who really gave a shit. Goldberg would definitely want it on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, he's going to be particular about where it's at.
He hasn't wrestled on, like, in all the matches he had during this latest run, I don't think he ever wrestled on TV once. I think it was always on pay-per-view. So Edge wrestled a handful of TV matches when he was in the company. Goldberg did not. He would want it on pay-per-view.
Two more quick points before I let you go. So I read that Lex Luger, was going to be in the Hall of Fame this year. Well deserved, by the way. I think narrowing down who he wants to have to induct him into the Hall of Fame. One name that everybody in the world would have pitched was Sting. So what I kept seeing lately is the fact that they want Sting to induct Luger, but Sting, and if I'm wrong, tell me, he might still be under contract with AEW.
Yes. Yeah.
And now the thing is, will Tony Khan and AEW grant that wish to have Sting, which we all know they're best friends since forever, to induct Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame without being a conflict or some sort of deal? Do you think do you think this is a big deal too? Do you think Tony Khan will let Sting induct Luger, or do you think Tony and AEW going to be on some petty shit and be like, no, we're not going to let Sting get involved in this, which I think will be kind of fucked up.
So here's where I stand on this. I do think WWE should let Sting. I'm sorry, AEW should let Sting do it. When I say AEW, I'm talking about Tony Khan. The buck stops with Tony Khan in AEW. It's really his call. But here's something that people have to remember. And also, does all of this shit trump what I'm about to say? Yes, but it is worth mentioning. If the shoe is on the other foot, I don't really think WWE would do AEW a solid. I really don't, because they have nothing to benefit from it. They don't want to help them. But when they feel like when they need, I mean, it's not them asking for Sting. It is them asking for Sting, but it's really Luger. But it's also under WWE's watch. It's their fucking Hall of Fame. So he's appearing on their program. If WWE needs something or they want something, they expect other people to kind of bow to everything that they want.
Mm-hmm.
But if WWE, or rather if AEW needed something, I honestly don't think, at least in AEW's case, because they are the biggest competition that WWE has compared to like TNA and shit like that at this point. And if TNA did the same thing a decade ago, it would have been the same thing. Now, we have seen this before. TNA, when they were actual competition to a certain degree, WWE inducted Ric Flair into their Hall of Fame. Not the first time. The first time he was in WWE. The second time for the Four Horsemen, he was in TNA at that point, albeit for like another month longer, but he was still in TNA.
Yeah.
And WWE got Ric Flair for that. And they said, okay, I guess the proper exchange was they let Christian, who was in WWE at that point, appear on a TNA pay-per-view, which was so fucking random. But that was the trade-off. And it's nice that they did that. But I don't really think they did that sort of thing after that or before that. I don't even see, and AEW is even bigger competition now than TNA was at that point to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, Tony Khan, should he say yes? Yes, he should. But I can't really say that I blame him all that much, because for all that, they've been petty too. AEW is petty too.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But WWE is the pettiest company there is, was, and always will be, dude. And Triple H is no different. I mean, he's probably better than Vince in that way, but he's also petty. And they continue to fucking run. They continue to run shows in the same markets that AEW does. Like, I think AEW is running a show in Tampa. They'll run a show in Tampa that same night, or in Orlando that same night, or that same way. They're doing that on purpose. They do this shit on purpose. They run they're doing a pay-per-view fucking Double or Nothing day. Why? What is the point of that? They do that because they're fucking petty. So then they expect Tony Khan to be like, oh yeah, say yes to our request. I get why Tony Khan would say no. Now, honestly, for his own public image, people aren't thinking probably the same way that I am. So I could see people being like, oh, fuck Tony Khan if they don't let Sting do this. Well, Tony Khan has a reason to not let WWE have this. It's for Lex Luger, yes, but WWE is really the one benefiting it from as well, because they have Sting on their show. Now, if they work out, if WWE says, if we have Sting for a night, then you can have Mick Foley for a night. I don't know. I don't know what the equivalent of that would be. Then yeah. If Tony Khan said no to that, then yeah, fuck him for that. That's kind of shitty. But WWE's got to give them something in return. They can't just be like, oh yeah, we want one of your contracted talent to appear on our show, but we're not going to, we'll probably pay him for it. But like, we need someone in return in AEW programming for a night. WWE's got to do something like that. I feel like it's only fair. So yeah, I do feel like Sting should be there, but I don't blame Tony Khan if he says no, given all the history that WWE, all the shit they put him through in the last 6 years.
So you think if this was to go down, it has to be a trade? Because remind me, let me know, has it in the past that something AEW has been planned to do something or wanted something from them and they got denied? Has it ever happened where they wanted something or no?
Publicly, maybe. I'm sure that's happened before. I can't pinpoint anything off the top of my head. But I will say this, though. One example I was thinking of, Sting, literally, it was the exact same situation, but on the other foot a year ago. Sting had his last match at Revolution this month, 1 year ago. They wanted legends in the crowd. Lex Luger, I think, was there, but Luger is under a WWE Legends deal. They had legends ringside for Sting's final match. I don't think Luger was ringside. And if he was, they did not show him. I think he was backstage. Now, did he not want to appear on camera because he thought it would be disrespectful? Or did he ask WWE or AEW asked and they said, no, we don't want him on screen because he's our legend and we don't want him there. Did they ask WWE for footage of Sting? Because they put a whole video package for Sting before his final match. Obviously, they couldn't include anything from WWE. Who cares? But like, they couldn't include anything from WCW. I mean, that's where his career was. That's what people remember, and they couldn't include that because it's their footage. Now, again, did they ask and WWE said no, or did they not even ask? I'm not really sure, but I feel like there's a chance that AEW, I'm sure, would have wanted Luger to be at ringside for Sting's final match, but they couldn't because WWE wouldn't have allowed it. So this is the same situation a year later, and we're just expecting Tony Khan to say yes. That's not fair. I mean, it goes both ways. Respect goes both ways.
No, listen. The last couple of years, we've seen people come and go in both companies, and like it just we've seen Flair, we've seen Rob Van Dam, we've seen Bret Hart. It's just, I just think that we're talking about, like, when it comes to Luger and Sting, I think their 40 somewhat year friendship has to trump that. Like, listen, this goes beyond just being performers and being characters. Like, yeah, contract, I get it, but this is like we're best friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want him to induct me into the Hall of Fame, find a fucking way to make it happen. Because if it's not Sting, who's inducting Luger to the Hall of Fame? It could be Flair. Like, nobody wants to see Flair do that. It's got to be Sting. And for a trade-off, I don't know what the equivalent of that is, because Sting is not an active performer.
Yeah.
So am I going to give you someone who's non-active to do a promo or whatever the case may be to go to your side? I don't know. Or Tony Khan,
do what, you know?
Exactly. Or Tony Khan just said, you know what, fuck it, go ahead and have your moment. Because for him, it might be a good PR thing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He ain't looking for, give me a trade, or no, I'm petty. You know what?
He should get a trade, but yeah.
Right, but he might be like, listen, Sting, go ahead, do your thing. That's your best friend, and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So
hopefully, listen, I will say this too. We have seen this sort of thing on the WWE end. Remember, John Cena celebrated 20 years in WWE, and they did a couple video packages for him on the big John Cena 20 show a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And who did they have appear in some of those video packages? Like sending in thank you John Cena videos. Chris Jericho, Big Show, Daniel Bryan, all of which were in AEW at that point. Yeah. And they all allowed them. Tony Khan said, that's fine. I thought it was a nice gesture. And then WWE turns around and then does something fucking petty. Like, AEW got nothing out. It's not like they said AEW superstar on it. It just said fucking Chris Jericho or WWE legend. Dude, WWE asks for a lot of stuff, but they don't really do a whole lot of stuff in return. For when it matters. Like, they'll help out TNA. Like, that's cute, but TNA is not a fucking threat. AEW isn't a threat, but like, they're the biggest competition there is.
Yeah.
And they've done stuff like that for them before. But what's the trade-off? Jericho was on the Steve Austin podcast on the network a couple years ago, which was awesome. Maybe the trade-off there was them talking about AEW. They kind of gave him some free promotion with that, which I'm still kind of shocked that happened. But they never did that again after that. So, yeah, I don't know. You got to – I agree. The 40-year friendship should trump all this other politics and bullshit. But I really cannot blame Tony Khan, who takes a lot of this shit personally, probably more than he should. But they talk shit about him so much, and they do so much petty shit, that it's like, okay, well, then why should he do them a favor? Do me a fucking solid. I know what you're saying is a public image thing, public PR thing. I totally agree. For Tony Khan's sake, he just let Phoenix out of his contract, Aleister Black out of his deal. That was a big PR thing. And a lot of people have some goodwill towards Tony Khan for that. But at the same time, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm like, okay, I kind of want something in return. This is just bullshit. You can't just continue to shit on me, and then I just give you my contracted talent for this shit where I get nothing out of it. So I would want something in return at this point.
But I get it. If Sting was active, I think you'll probably have a different conversation. If he's active every Monday, every Wednesday, he's in it. Okay, maybe there's something, a trade off. But he's not active. He's been retired for a year now? Like, what is Sting doing right now? He's chilling.
He's not appeared on TV since his last match. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The Legends deal. I might help backstage. Like,
I know.
Like, let me rock out for one night. I'm not saying let me go sign there and be active.
No, yeah, well, of course, yeah. This isn't like
It's the same with DDP. Wasn't DDP doing something with them? And he's back and forth like it.
I don't think he was in WWE contract at that point. That's a good question. Either, I was thinking of that, but you know what I also thought of? Because no way he wasn't under a deal at this point. How the fuck did Bret Hart appear at Double or Nothing that 1 year? He appeared at the first Double or Nothing and presented like MJF or Adam Page with the belt. He unveiled the first ever AEW World Title. How the fuck did that happen? Was he not in WWE at that point? Like, how was that even able to be worked? Was he not under a deal? Like, I would love to know how that was worked out.
Because he's the best there is, best there was, best of the movie.
I know, but it never
Bret Hart.
happened again after that. It was only it was very strange. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
I gotta Google that when we're done.
Bret can do whatever he wants, man.
I guess.
Last point. Obviously, today's March 20th. We do this, I think, just about every year, but it is the 31st. Wow, 31st anniversary of WrestleMania 10 at the Garden. March 20th, 1994. We know pretty much what the card was until I pull it up, but obviously the main thing you're gonna remember is Shawn and Razor ladder match, still regarded 31 years later as probably the best ladder match of all time, or one of the best ladder matches of all time. Yeah, Bret Hart walk out as champion. At the end of the night, we had Luger, who was Hall of Famer. Luger was involved at WrestleMania 10 with Yoko, and also Bret Hart, Owen Hart opened the show, and possibly the greatest WrestleMania match to open a WrestleMania of all time. So those are the two things you recall from the Garden, WrestleMania 10. Any quick thoughts on WrestleMania 10? And I know it's not like high on the list of like WrestleManias, because that was the new generation era and still trying to figure some things out. But in a vacuum, what's your overall sentiment about WrestleMania 10?
It's funny. Someone asked me the other day, like, what do I think the most complete WrestleMania cards are of all time? Like not just like best manias, but like best cards, And this one came to mind, not as number one, but maybe at like 5 or something, because of the greatest opener of all. I still think this is the best opener in Mania history, is Bret and Owen from WrestleMania 10. Now, Yoko's matches on the show are not fucking instant classics at all. But Bret winning the belt was a big moment. That was a great ending. Yoko defending the championship twice was still a big deal.
Yeah.
The fact that it was in the Garden and the ladder match, I mean, you combine those three or four big things on one show. It's a very well-rounded show. And honestly, in a lot of ways, it reminds me, and I'm looking at the card now, it reminds me a lot of WrestleMania 30. Well, WrestleMania 30, what do you remember? Like the Legends opening, which was an amazing opening to the show with Hogan, Austin, and Rock.
Yeah.
You have Daniel Bryan winning the belt, and the match itself was great. But you have Daniel Bryan also opening the show in an amazing opener, and the streak ending. But like the entire card is not great. Mania 30 is not like it's a top Mania, but like it's not every match on the show is great. Like the women's match was garbage. It was like a multi-women match. They had like Cena and Bray as a match was not that good. Like it was not a great match at all. Even Brock and Taker sucked as a match, but like the moments made that show. And I feel like Mania 10, exactly 10 years earlier, or 20 years earlier rather, kind of falls in that same category where not every match is a banger. Like looking at the card here, Men on a Mission versus the Quebecers. I doubt that was, and they won by count out. Who cares? Earthquake in fucking Atom Bomb. Wow. 30 seconds. Who cares? Bam Bam Bigelow and Doink who gives a shit about that stuff? Who cares? But like the big matches make this show. The ladder match, the opener, and Bret winning the belt.
The main event.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of Mania 30 in that way. Not as good overall.
Yeah, Macho and Crush on that too, right? Macho and
Crush.
That
10-minute match. Falls was that a good? I haven't seen that match in forever, so I have no idea. Alundra Blaze and Leilani Kai. Sure, that's a good match, but I don't know. That was also 3 minutes. Yeah, not one of the best Manias, but for the shit that matters, it was good. Better than honestly though. I think Mania 10 easily the best Mania of the first 10 Manias. Like Mania 3 is a lot more filler on it. Mania 4 is just garbage overall. I like Mania 6, but you only really look at the first 10 Manias for like the main event or like 1 or 2 matches. This had more than that. So that's why I feel like it's the best Mania of the first 10.
I got one. I'm trying to look up because the one glaring thing that I did not see. Okay. That's why. So I'm looking at the card and I'm like, why isn't the Undertaker on here? So I want to know why he wasn't. With a storyline.
Yeah, no, he was not at that Mania. Yeah.
They said he, due to a back injury sustained in the Royal Rumble match against Yokozuna, he needed time off to recover and did not return until SummerSlam 94.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was for the Taker and Underfaker thing and whatever.
Yeah, so he was legit injury. That's why they wrote him off at the '94 Rumble with the casket, and that they had the camera in the casket, and then he comes back and I'm like, yo, like even like WrestleMania is a WrestleMania 9, so yeah, 9 he had Johnny Gonzalez, and 10 he was off. Then ever since then he was at Mania. I think there's probably another WrestleMania he was not a part of. I think it was 2000 he was not a part of.
2000, yeah, was the other one that he was not a part. He was hurt for that one too. And then he came back as American Badass.
That's right. At Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, yep. Triple H Iron Man match, yep.
Yes, I think it's WrestleMania 10 Mania. I go back. Yo, man, I want to sit down. It's Mania season. Let's go pop in WrestleMania 10. No.
No, probably not.
Owen Brett, yes. Sean Razor, yes. The main event, maybe to a degree, but I might maybe. That's like plan C. But overall, you think about the time frame, I think that was a WrestleMania that began. I kid you not. It was in New York, but like 4:00 in the afternoon, it just started. I promise you, it was in that afternoon time frame, because I was in trouble with my pops, and he said, "Yo, you can't order WrestleMania." I said, "Yo, it's gonna start right now, 4:00." No,
Yeah.
No, you're not ordering shit. Damn. So I didn't see WrestleMania 10 live on pay-per-view, but one of, if not greatest ladder match, greatest WrestleMania opening match with Bret and Owen. But I think, like you said, it's a fun. It has a nice beginning, middle, and an end, and everything in between. It's like, but it's not really high on my list as far as like all-time manias.
No, yeah, I just feel like for the biggest moments, it stands out. It wouldn't be at the bottom. There's been, I said, I would put Manias 1 through 9 below this, and I could see people saying, well, 3 should be above it because 3 has more historical significance. Brother, 3 has 2. Even Hogan and Andre is not a good match, but obviously the match itself is worth watching because it is historical. It's a big match.
So you're saying 10 is better than 3?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, let's look. Let's get into this right now. Let's get into
let me timestamp that. Graham says WrestleMania 10 is better than WrestleMania 3.
I do. I mean, Mania 3 had a bigger crowd, but bro, I'm looking at this fucking card here. For Mania 3, cannot tell me you cannot tell me that you would rather watch Mania 3 unless you lived through it and have like a nostalgia attachment to it. Let's look at this all-star card here. The
all-star. Who?
All-star card, the Can-Am Connection versus Bob Orton and the Magnificent Morocco.
Okay. Well,
couldn't pick that out of a lineup. Billy Jack Kane versus Hercules ended in a double countout. Hillbilly Jim, Haiti Kid, Little Beaver in the 6-man tag match. Who gives a shit? Harley Race versus Junkyard Dog. Loser must bow. Okay, that sounds. I mean, Harley Race and Junkyard Dog are good. It was a 4-minute match though. Dream Team versus Rougeau Brothers. 4-minute match. Okay.
Well, who's Dream Team? That's not who's that?
Greg Valentine, Brutus Beefcake.
Oh God. Okay.
All Roddy Piper and Adrian Adonis in a hair versus hair match.
Okay.
That's I remember. Yeah, I know that. Danny Davis and Hart Foundation versus Tito Santana and the British Bulldogs. I mean, that sounds fine.
That sounds pretty all right.
That sounds good. Butch Reed versus Coco Beware in a 3.5-minute match.
No.
Okay. Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage, obviously.
Ooh.
Well, we know that. That speaks for itself. Honky Tonk Man versus Jake Roberts.
Ooh.
Okay.
How long was that match?
7 minutes.
Oh, Jake won, right?
Honky Tonk Man won.
What?
Yeah, he was not. Was he champion at that point? No.
No. He was going to be champ later on. Camacho won the belt. No, Steamboat won the belt at Mania.
Oh, how am I?
Honky gets it later.
Yeah, what am I saying? Of course he wasn't champion because the IC title match earlier on. Iron Sheik versus the Killer Bees and Iron Sheik and Nikita Koloff versus Killer Bees in a 5-minute match that they won by DQ.
Okay.
And then Hogan and Andre.
Ooh.
You can't. I'm sorry. You are lying to yourself unless you lived through that and you love the nostalgia shit.
So okay, hold on. I got it.
10 is better.
The best matches on WrestleMania 3, Macho Steamboat, and we're gonna say Hogan Andre, right? Those are 2 pillars for 3.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the best matches, but I would say the 2 pillars for that show, and that's literally it.
And the two pillars from WrestleMania 10 are Bret Owen and Shawn Razor.
Yeah, but even Bret and Yoko's, I'd rather watch Hogan and Andre over Bret Yoko.
Okay.
But like that, those are two moment matches because the Hogan and Andre as a match is not good at all. But as a match, it's massive.
And to play advocate, you take Bret Owen or Macho Steamboat?
It's a good question. That's a very good question.
Ooh. Knowing you, you probably pick Bret Owen.
Probably Bret Owen, to be honest. Probably Bret Owen. That's a good question, though. I don't know. I'd have to watch them back to back. I mean, it's very close. I mean, honestly, if you said either one, you wouldn't be wrong. How long was Bret Owen?
Macho Steamboat or Shawn Razor?
Shawn Razor, Macho Steamboat. Oh, that's probably Steamboat Macho. I don't know. Honestly, WWE's got this whole countdown going on right now for the best Mania matches. You can ask them that question. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they have Hunter and Sting at like number 50.
Holy shit. Bret Owen was 20 minutes. That's crazy. And then that Macho and Steamboat was like less than 15. That's crazy.
It's regarded as the greatest Intercontinental Championship match of all time.
It is. And it's up there. I don't know if it is now, but it's up there. It probably still is.
I don't know. I think from a historical standpoint, I think 3 has the edge because of what it meant.
Historically, yes. I'm saying better show.
I don't know. I don't know if I could say 10 is a better show than WrestleMania 3 because if you're telling me Pontiac Silverdome, the Garden, 93,000 compared to 20,000, smaller card. It's the golden era of what the company was in 1987 compared to 1994 is there's a drop off.
Yeah, no, obviously 10-3 is
because
bigger.
There's no Bam Bam. I mean, there's no Doink the Clowns and those people on WrestleMania 3. On 3, there are some names you're like, oh, what's that? Coco Beware. I get it, but it's like I think 3 has the edge over 10. In a totality kind of moment of a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're wrong to feel that way. Everybody has their own opinion, but I think because that's the first time I've ever heard someone say 10 is better than 3. Because 3, when you mention the best Manias, 3 is in that top 10 for sure. Top 5, maybe.
I would love to know like what people really want. Aside from what you said, the main event, which even people, I can't imagine people would go back and say that's not even top 25 best matches of all time. Best matches, it's not even in there.
I don't see that match at all. I don't see Hogan Andre.
But then it's just the IC title match, and that's it.
But it's the moment though. The match, the moment.
Yeah, I know, but that's only one moment. 10 has more moments like that. 10 is the ladder match, the opener, even Bret winning the belt. And then the filler, honestly, even the filler might be better than the filler for Mania 3. Like they both have a lot of filler, but I feel like the Mania 3 filler might be better. Also, here's another thing too. Let me check. I'm curious which Mania is longer. They might be the same length. Well, let me check on Peacock real quick. If Mania 3 is like 4 hours long, that's a fucking rough watch. Overall. I'm sorry. That's a hill I'll die on. And I've seen all the Manias. I mean, I didn't live through them the same way a lot of other people did. But I'm just saying, which one would I rather watch? Probably, I feel like 10's like 3 hours. Okay, because the season.
I got it. WrestleMania 10 was 2 hours and 44 minutes.
Dude, that sounds like a takeover. That's great.
WrestleMania 3 was 3 hours.
Oh, okay. So it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
I'd rather still sit through WrestleMania 10. My season's on Peacock.
That's
WrestleMania 11 was 2 hours and 25 minutes. I mean, Mania 11 was terrible. So.
Garbage. It's the worst Mania of all time. We've already established that.
It's garbage. But I'm looking at like the Manias and stuff. Mania 6 was 3 hours and 22 minutes. WrestleMania 5 was 3 hours and 38. What were they smoking back then?
WrestleMania 5 was Mega Powers, bro. Mega Powers. They had Warrior and Warrior and Rick Rude.
What else? That's what I'm saying. You can't go off of a lot of these first 10 Manias. It's nostalgia. You can't mention more than 2 matches, maybe 3 at most. Maybe.
So we gotta do a deep dive of like, all right, can the first 10 WrestleManias have 3 matches or more that you say, you know what, this is I need 3 bangers.
There's
Can
well,
you
I mean,
find
you also have to consider, like you say, bangers, but back then it wasn't about the match quality; it was about the moments too.
yeah.
Which Hogan and Andre by '80s definition of banger was a banger because it was a massive match. It was massive moment, massive build, massive everything.
I got one for you.
What?
WrestleMania 35, 5 hours and 24 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm looking through all of the manias right now on Peacock. The first
Wow.
mania, fun fact for you, that it looks like was closer to 4 hours. The longest mania up to a certain point was Mania 17, 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Wow.
That was like the start of 4-hour manias because after that, 18 is 343. Even 2000 was 3 hours and 18 minutes. 18 was 343. Oh, fuck.
So
19.
as far as a one night mania,
Yeah.
35 is the longest.
Well, yeah, no, easily. It's just funny. I'm going through them now. Like 346 for 19, 430 for 20. I remember 20 being long. 20 is
Garden.
just ridiculous.
The Garden has those fucking long ass shows.
Yeah, 20 is a little overrated for me. I've said that before.
That's Kurt and Guerrero. That's Benoit,
Yeah.
Hunter, Sean. That's the Rock and Sock against Evolution.
Yeah, it's a good show, but it's not a great show.
20. What else is on 20?
Taker and Kane. They have a Playboy
Jericho,
evening gown match. Yeah, Jericho
Christian.
and Christian. Yep, which is a good match.
And Cena, right?
Goldberg, Lesnar, and Cena, Big Show. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Good mania, but 21's better. 19's better.
Yes.
17's better.
Yes.
22 might be. I'd have to check.
22 is underrated for me.
Yeah, I've never really loved that show, but 22 has some good stuff on it though. Never loved that or Mania 23. Didn't love those manias.
My worst are 11, 9, 27,
29,
32 because everybody was damn near hurt.
Well, those. I feel like we can all agree on what the worst ones are. Those are definitely. I would put 29 in there too. 29 had Cena and Rock 2, which was terrible.
Oh yeah, MetLife
was. I'm glad that almost was my first WrestleMania going to, and I'm glad it wasn't. That would have been awful.
And you know what? Before I land the plane, you do have a lot of other anniversaries coming up for WrestleMania. So you have the 10th for WrestleMania 31 coming up. Okay. On March 29th, you have the 15th anniversary of WrestleMania 26 on March 29th.
Mm-hmm.
You have the 20th for WrestleMania 21 on April 3rd. You have the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania 2000 on April 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
You have the 30th anniversary for WrestleMania 11 on April 2nd.
Yep.
And then you have the 35th anniversary for WrestleMania 6 on April 1st. And then the 40th for WrestleMania 1 on March 31st.
Wow.
So it's a lot of nostalgia coming down the pipeline with these WrestleManias. So I know we're gonna talk about that as time goes on. But you can follow Graham Matthews on social media at WrestleRant. Myself, Randy J. Cruz, RENDY, letter J, CRUZ. Podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music. Go to youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Go ahead, download, rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and like. Show some love and support for your boys on the program. Graham, I know we'll tap in sometime soon. If not, maybe after a SmackDown, maybe after a Raw. Because the next PLE will be WrestleMania, and I think you'll be over there. We'll both be busy for Mania, so that's not the next PLE we'll do. But I know we'll tap in soon, bro.
Sounds good, brother. I look forward to it.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too.
All right, bet.
Adios.